welcome to seminar number 1 with Clean Tank. We have Anthony and Patricia with us, and they're going to help you and educate you about the proper maintenance of your black tank and little tips and tricks and things you can do to help clear it so no one ends up getting that dreadful TP in your black tank. So I'm going to let you guys take it away. These guys are one of our favorites and really popular with you guys. So join on in, and away you go.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming out this early in the morning. Uh, well, first of all, we're talking about black tanks, which is the biggest concern for most people, but we're also going to be talking about gray tanks as well, which don't get as much coverage as they should, as I believe anyways. A lot of times we have owners coming up into our rig and we think it's our black tank, and a lot of times it's actually our gray. Okay, so Patricia's given you all booklets, pamphlets there. That's basically my presentation. If you got any questions, there's just a few of us here, so I don't mind stopping and answering those questions. But really, I want to hear the concerns and the questions you guys have and how to alleviate it. And at the end, yes, I want to educate you on how to properly maintain your tanks, but also give you little tips that'll easy to remember, and you probably won't hear elsewhere. At least I hope you won't hear elsewhere. So, anyways, Clean Tank. There are over 50 dealers in the U.S. We are currently the only dealers in Canada. So our territory is all of Canada. We obviously focus a lot in Ontario. We've gone out west a couple times. We were going to go out this year, but with so much going on, we just figured, you know what? Now we're going to kind of alternate and go every other year. But we do like to travel, so we don't mind going out west. But again, we do a lot in Ontario, a lot of service in southern Ontario, and we're actually from eastern Ontario. Okay, so our business basically, we clean obviously the black tanks, gray tanks. We sanitize your holding tanks also, and we'll also, if you have, flush your hot water tanks. And if anodes need replacing, we'll replace that also. That's becoming a thing of the past. Tanks with anode, because now they're all what are they? Aluminum, but what's the kind? On demand. On demand, thank you. Now they're going to on demand, which you either really like or you don't. I haven't quite decided that yet. I guess he doesn't. I guess as time goes on and the stuff gets better, I imagine it will get better. I just remember in houses when they came in, it was like cold water, then it was hot. It was very hard to regulate it, eh? But I'm sure they'll get it figured out. So we also clear clogs and mounds and stuff like that. Those are the typical emergency calls. And, you get someone call and say, hey, my toilet won't flush. We got one just the other day. Luckily, that was an easy problem. My toilet won't flush, or I got stuff coming up my toilet, and they're in a panic. And they usually want you there the day before. And again, because we're the only ones in Ontario, we're not going to get to that quickly most of the times. The easy one I just alluded to, this customer had called and said that she was new to RVing and said that she had issues with her black tank. Well, thankfully I went over there, and this is just, I think, the day before we were coming, and I was like, oh, I like to plan everything, get everything ready, and then the day before I want to be able to rest and not do anything, because you know what's going to happen. Ultimately, you're going to get busy, and you're still going to be doing something the day before your trip. Well, that's exactly what happened. We had 2 calls, and this woman called, and I went there, and luckily she was pulling the gray tank lever. So I was able to solve that one. I was the hero. Anyways, so the service here, before I forget, at the rally, our service is normally $400, and at the rally there's a $50 discount for $350. And if you're an actual ORVO member, it's $325. So if you're not, it's well worth it just to become a member with all the savings you're going to be getting, not just with us, but with other events that are going on. Okay, so obviously we know that human sewage, human waste is nasty stuff. We want to avoid it. If we get really... Okay, settle down here. We really need to avoid spilling. One of the things I like to do is I will put a little bucket underneath the outlet just in case, especially when you're first setting up and first hooking up your pipe. You want to make sure that you're not going to have any oopsies or poopsies. And if you do, you have a little, well, this is working out real great. You'll have a little a bucket to catch it and contain it, okay? A good idea is to wear gloves. And for those of you who are immunocompromised or have allergies or allergic to mold and whatnot, good idea to wear a mask, N9 or something like that. I want to talk because I'm the person who's allergic to that and I rarely wear it. But yeah, good idea to wear those just to keep yourself protected. So our holding tanks, people, what are they? They're basically large plastic type boxes. We'll use Patricia's telephone. So depending on the type you have, if you have a Class A, may be a little bit different. Most tanks are kind of shaped like this. They're tilted a little bit, depending which way. Usually it's this way. They're tilted a little bit so it can drain better. But they're just holding tanks, exactly that. But what happens is we tend to treat them like they're septic, like it's a septic system. And how do we do that? We put stuff in there to break down the waste, break down all the stuff. That should be done in the septic system for the park, not in your holding tanks. Even if you have a home with some of these newer systems, you'll have a holding tank. It doesn't break down in there. It's elsewhere. The reason why you don't want to have stuff starting to break down in your holding tank is because that is what actually will start sticking to your walls, all the stuff that you're breaking down. And you don't want that. Okay? It's very in my opinion, kind of simple. My background as a realtor, when they spoke about, when I first heard about this and they were talking about how we treat our holding tanks like the septic systems, it made complete sense to me because I know a lot about that. I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes complete sense. Yeah, okay. It's the type of thing there. I'll tell a quick story. I remember, I think it was my mother, or whatever, doesn't matter who it was, saying how that grandma used to make her ham or whatever, and she'd cut the ends of the ham off. And you already know it. Maybe it was my mother. Grandmother, exactly. And then I don't know, I guess one of the kids or whatever says, why do you always cut the ends of the ham off? I don't know. Let's go ask grandma. You go to ask grandma, grandma, why do you cut the ends of the ham off? Well, because my pan was too small. So my point being is that a lot of times we do these things just because that's what we know, that's what we've seen, but we have no reasoning behind it. It's just when we're young, it came through unfiltered, and that's just the way we thought things were supposed to be done. No different now. No different with RVing. And I think one of the best compliments I had, I think it was here actually last year. I had a gentleman come up to me and he says, I've been RVing longer than you are old. And he said, and I learned something here today. I was like, well, thank you. And he actually accepted and received it, and that was awesome. So again, there's a lot of things that we just do just because we don't think about, because that's just the way it's always been done. I'm here to challenge that a little bit. So sensors, which is a bane of our existence. Did we bring any? Okay. We wonder why our sensors foul up or don't work. That's what they look like. And so it doesn't take very much to foul them up. Hello. It doesn't take very much to foul those sensors up at all. You're very welcome. A little bit of toilet paper, a little speck of something, and they're not going to work. It's a very simple design. And again, it doesn't take much to foul them up. When you are, what you will find though is when you're sitting at a spot for quite a while, that's when your sensors are more apt to foul up. And when it gets really hot, really humid, they're going to foul up. But if you're traveling a lot, you're probably going to have better luck with your sensors. But I'll help give you some tips on that too. Did you see those? Okay, right on. So those are the sensors, and now we know why they foul up so easy, because they're just little itty bitty things, and it doesn't take much to foul them up. Now there's also another type that kind of have a sonar, and they're strips that go on the outside. Actually, you know more about that. Maybe. We'll get Corey to talk about that. Tell us about the sonar type. He doesn't.
It's not a suspension part at all.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So anyhow, they basically measure through sonar. I'm calling it sonar. I don't know what that actually is. And it just measures level. Those also, depending on the condition of the tank, can misread too. Because if you got a lot of buildup in the tank, well, it's got to penetrate that, and it just may not. You know, the stuff that's on the wall. So none of these are foolproof. I always tell people, get to know your rig. Get to know your rig. So when you're flushing your toilet, you know, you can hear as it's starting to fill, and eventually you can hear, oh, this sounds right. My favorite for the gray, for those of you who've heard, is I wait for my wife to take a shower, and then when water comes up through the shower and she yells at me, I know it's time to pull the gray. That's the best. But really, again, sensors, if they work, great, but get to know your rig. That is a big thing. So how do they empty? Obviously, it's gravity. So you have a short, long, but narrow box. So you also need the volume in there to actually help evacuate all the waste properly. So it's not always a great idea to be dumping every day or leaving your tanks valves open. That's a big no. I would highly advise you leave them closed. Yes, sir.
What do you do if you have a washing machine in your rig that's hooked up to your gray tank?
Well, there you go. If you have a washing machine and you're hooking the gray tank, I would always leave them open while I'm using the washing machine. Unless you know how much water your washing machine is going to take to do the process, and you're starting with an empty tank, and you know the capacity of your gray tank. That's the only time I'd leave them open, personally. And I wish I had a washing machine in mine, but I don't. Okay, so again, the volume of water and the gravity obviously is what's going to pull the waste out. What happens over time is that there's going to be a buildup, especially if you're using those products that break down stuff. We ascribe to the thought that the way it goes in the tank is the way we want to come out. We don't want to break down and stick. We just want to go in and out the same way, and you have to have less issues or less problems like that with that, I should say. But all that waste also, because it is tilted a little bit, it tends to collect on the front wall, and that's where your sensors are. So that's why it's even harder to keep clean, because you have continually amount of waste that's always falling there or hanging out there, shall we say. The tank additives, people argue for or against. My feeling is use what you want, but make sure you use a lot of water. A lot of water. Like if you think about it, you go home, you got your sticks and bricks, and you use your toilet that's got a tank on it. Doesn't matter if you're going for number one, number two, you're flushing with a big tank of water. Yet in an RV, whatever is in the toilet, how's that supposed to pull it down into the tank? It's not. And if you're habitually using little water, you're going to have a clog. You're going to have a backup in the pipe, or if you're lucky and it drops directly into your black tank, you'll have a pyramid, but still, we need to use a lot of water. So what I tell people is, doesn't matter, when you first use the bathroom, flush it down with a full bowl of water. Flush another bowl down, and then fill it up again for the next use. So you're always putting down 2 bowlfuls of water. And hopefully some of you, there's very few that I've run across that can actually add water to that. But most, you can just push down on the pedal a little bit to keep the flapper closed and just fill the bowl that way. Ours, I don't know, it's supposed to be this way. We can actually lift up on the lever and it'll allow water in. But again, if you do that and follow that practice, you're going to minimize the issues that you're going to have with your black tanks. Your gray tanks also use a lot of water. Gray tanks, the real issue is just it's mold. It's mold. That's the big issue. What we suggest is we have what we call this recipe, which you have in your booklet and your pamphlet there. It's a very simple recipe. We all know pine sol. The original pine sol is the only pine sol that actually kills mold. Okay? So also in here's a little bit of Calgon, and that's to help keep the pipes and your tanks nice and slick so everything slides out, which is what we want. And because it's coating the walls a little bit, it's going to help resist the buildup of literally crap and stuff on your tank walls. And again, that's what we want. We want to resist that. It's not going to eliminate it. It's just going to resist it. And over time, it'll take a longer time before you actually have issues. So again, that recipe's in there. You can use whatever scent that you like, but if you are having problems with mold, I would highly suggest you use the original pine sol. Yes, sir.
What would be some of the symptoms or things that would notify you that you have a mold issue in your tank?
Oh, good question. Well, the biggest thing. Oh, sorry. Can you repeat the question? Speak into the microphone. No, he
You need
wants
to.
me to. Yeah. What are some of the things you can look for, or that will indicate that you have mold in your tank? Well, number one, your nose, right? So let's just say you're at the kitchen sink and you're washing something down. Once that water kind of gets a little bit that's out in the P-trap, you may get a little whiff of something. So obviously your nose. Number two, if you have, and I advise that you do this too, on your sewer outlet, always have a clear piece so you can see what's coming out. And typically what you're going to see in a gray tank is going to be sandy, gray, tan, whatever. But there's also possible you could have black mold too, and that's where you see actual black specks of mold that are coming out, or it could come out in chunks too, whatnot. So your nose, obviously, but if you have that clear pipe on the end, which again I highly advise you to do that, you can actually see. Okay. So if you're just seeing like discoloration in the gray tank, which is normal, that is normal, I should say. But if you're seeing bigger chunks, then you got a mold issue, and you want to attack that. All right. Thank you for that, Corey. Okay, sensors. I already mentioned using plenty of water. When you're on a full hookup site like we are here, use the water. That's what your system needs. Obviously, if you're boondocking and you're conserving water, that's a different story. But once you get back to a place where you can dump and you have access to water, flush the tanks. We'll also show you how to maintain your tanks by flushing them too. Highly effective. Oh, before I go on, I don't want to forget. A tip that I've started recommending people is that oftentimes when we're traveling, I don't know, we use a bathroom on the go, whatnot, while we're going, and we get to our campsite and we set up and we start camping. What I advise you to do is empty the contents that you have in there when you get to your new campsite. Fill it with, depending on the size of your tank, 3 to 5 gallons of water, some of the solution, and start camping on that. Because you'd be amazed, as you're driving around, the water gets in the corners and it just pulls stuff and it's in prime position to exit. So that's when you want to, you definitely want to do that. Again, it's just get rid of that stuff that's there and start with fresh tanks. Again, because when you're sitting here, it's whatever gets in the corner, when you dump, it's not necessarily going to drain out. If you back flush, you have a much better chance of getting it all out. But back flushing and releasing the few gallons of water that you have in your tank after driving is very good, okay? So again, we'll get back to the flush king here. So your tanks, you should ideally empty them when they're as close to full as possible, as I mentioned earlier. You're looking for numbers, 75 to 80%. That's ideally the minimum amount before you want to pull it. Again, if there's not enough water in there and you pull it, what's likely going to happen is a lot of water is going to drain off and the solids are going to remain. So you need that content, you need the volume again to pull it out. Some people talk about equalizing their tanks. Does anyone know what that means? Talking about equalizing the black and the gray. There's some controversy about that. The truth of it is, it depends on your rig. Some rigs, it's just not even an issue. So some rigs, I can literally go up to them and I could pull all three, and there's not going to be any issue with cross contamination. I personally don't think it's that big a deal, but that's something you'd have to decide for yourself. So the Valterra Flush King. This is what we advise every RVer to have. It's a little stiff right now. And obviously this goes on the outlet. You got your hose here. You got a valve here. This is a backflow water protection, so it doesn't go into the park system, whatnot. And a valve here to turn it on and off. I'd advise you get a water meter so you know exactly how much water you're putting into your tanks. And then you fill it to the 70 or 80% capacity. So after you've drained your tank, you fill it to 70, 80%. You pull this, and it drains. And then what I get you to look for is after the pressure is relieved a little bit, you'll see the water level drop. If things are flowing good in your tank, this whole pipe will fill up with water and whatever else. After water level drops, I'm keeping a very close eye to see if I'm still getting stuff out, toilet paper, etc. If there is, that's an indication to me that I'm going to flush that tank again. Okay? This here is your best friend when it comes to tank health. I don't know the prices. Amazon, they have it up and down all over the place. They're like 70 bucks right now, 75, 70 bucks right now on Amazon. Great tool to have. So this, again, with using copious amounts of water and the Calgon pine sol mixture, you'll see a difference. Now, this isn't something to clean your tanks, okay? This is something to help maintain your tanks. Once if your rig is brand new and you start using this, it could be a long time before you even need a cleaning, period, right? But I don't want you to think that this is going to solve your problems, because it isn't. It's something to help maintain your tanks, right? Okay?
How does that differ from our trailer actually has the back flush system?
Yes.
Put the water up, but it's not near that.
Good question. Okay, so in most rigs, you recognize that?
Yep.
Okay. Well, here's what's on the other side of most of them. Something like that.
Okay.
So just little slits in there. So basically, the pressure from the park sprays water, just the hose. So if you got your tank that's yay long and maybe spraying water up to here, and you run it, oh, it's clean. I ran it for an hour. Well, what it's doing is it's spraying up there and it's cleaning the center. It's not getting the back. It's not getting the sides, but that center's nice and clean, right? It's this. It's better than nothing. What I would do, and a lot of times the manufacturers will have a label on there saying only operate with your blades open. Well, that's all liability, I would say, right? If you have a water meter, you're going to know exactly how much you're going to put in there. So if for whatever reason you opted not to do that, which I'm telling you that's the best, I would close my black tank or gray, whatever it is. I have a water meter on. I know that my 80% is 30 gallons, and I fill it to 30 gallons. It'll take, and then I'll just release it from there. But so it's still, I'd still use this. And if you ever think it's a good idea to run it anyways, because more water, better. Yes, sir.
So one other thing, maybe too, if you go with that setup there, you can also do your gray tank with that one.
Absolutely.
Whereas that guy is only going to get the black.
Okay.
So it all depends on how your tank outlets are put, because I've got the rig and yeah, it shoots right into the black, but my gray has an elbow, so it comes in at a 45 to it, so my back flush elbow won't back flush into the gray.
Yes. Most rigs don't have flushers for the gray tank. Some of the newer ones, a lot of the higher end rigs, actually have gray tank flushers. So that's an indication they know it's an issue, right? They're actually putting them in the higher end rigs now. It's not, again, even despite that they're doing that, this is still the best thing in my humble opinion. Okay, Valterra Flush King. You can get that on Amazon. There's different products like this. Some of them will sell with just this, with the clear piece and a blaster. Then you need to get a gate valve afterwards. This is all in one. You don't need to get two and put it together. I like this. It works the best, and as far as I'm concerned, quite effective. Valterra, the model Valterra Flush King, and it actually should be in your booklet. And actually, before I forget, if you can actually go to the second last page where it says best practices correct tank care. Yes, if you can go down to the second last paragraph under but I really want a tank additive, and then it says take a 1 gallon jug or bottle. The next line it says add 1 cup, 8 ounces, blah, blah, blah. At the end it says beads or liquid. That was a mistake. It's not or, not.
Mine's crossed
Yeah,
out.
it's crossed
Yours?
out on
We're good.
The liquid is crossed out.
That's my
We
wife.
planned in advance.
Hey, there you go. Way to go. Give her a hand. Right on. Yeah, the liquid actually does not work. Liquid is, I think, for laundry, and it actually strips. We're trying to coat the tank with something slippery, and this actually is more like a, I don't want to say abrasive, but I can't think of the word right now. It doesn't work. It's what I want you to know. Okay, so there again, there's the recipe that we have, recommend. And I believe it's a half a cup for every 45 gallons. Did you hear that? Half a cup for under 40 gallons. She's the brains, okay? I'm just the... okay. There you go. There you go. Okay, toilet paper. Everyone likes to talk about toilet paper. Who uses RV safe toilet paper? No. Okay, it's RV safe. It's not RV safe. It's septic safe, in my opinion. Okay, because when it comes to let me say it this way: when it comes to toilet paper, barring any park restrictions, okay, use whatever toilet paper you like. If you like that Charmin, that 3-ply, that nice soft, cushy stuff, use that. But if the park says only use RV or septic safe, well then honor that, respect that, right? The only thing you don't want to put down there are, sorry. Dish. Oh, there's someone talking from experience right there. Dish towels. Lucky you. Don't put dish towels down there, okay? No dish towels. You don't want to use serviettes, and you don't want to use those flushable wipes, okay? Yeah, stay away from it. Just use regular toilet paper. But again, it doesn't matter. We don't care. Actually, I don't want the toilet paper to break down. Again, because those little bits are going to get all caught up on stuff and attract more bits and stuff like that. And no, the way it goes in is the way we want it out. So again, barring, yes, sir.
A friend of mine has his RV parked. His grandchildren come over. They do this, and he had to go in and clear the pipes because there was wads of toilet paper.
Okay, that's actually a good point. Okay, so yes, you don't want to throw copious amounts of paper. We don't even want to do that in our home, right? But yeah, I would actually kind of get a little personal here. Roll it up so it's got a nice little thing, and then it's as opposed to this big, huge wad of it. Yes, the kids will do that. It's amazing the stuff that I've seen come out of black tanks: cigars, glasses, kids' toys, spoons, forks, keys, you name it. I always offer back to them. Most of the times they don't want it. I don't know why. Like, just clean it. Can't understand that at all. Yeah, exactly. Just put some pine sol in it. There, it's good. You're good. Okay, so we're talking about toilet paper. That's essentially myths and misperceptions. Also, I've heard people talk about putting ice in their black tanks to help clean it. Thoughts on that?
Not going to stay ice for very long.
What was that?
It won't stay ice for very long.
It won't. Absolutely. And I guess I get the idea behind it. The edges of the ice are what's going to do the agitation, right? But by the time you get it into your tank and you're hopping your rig, it's probably those edges are probably melted off, and it's not actually going to do an edge. So it's just expensive water. My suggestion is save the ice for your drinks. Absolutely. Yeah. And then there's also Dawn. And what's mixed with the Dawn, babe? Dawn and other dish detergents. And what? And borax. So I get the idea behind that. But who here still uses liquid dish soap? Out of okay. So what happens after quite a while of using it around the edge? It kind of gets all crusty. And we're putting copious amounts in our tanks. What do you think's going to happen in your tanks? Now, when I clean, it'll be a nice big soapy mess. But again, that's going to be accumulation.
It'll also smell good.
It also smells very good when I clean it too. But you don't want to use that. Okay, just avoid that. I've also heard people using bleach. Bleach is hard on the seals. Caustic, you don't want to do that. Speaking of seals, I'm sure we've all experienced this where our pulls kind of get a little bit stiff. What I've noticed, as long as it's not a cable issue, a lot of times it could just be the seal itself it's crud's building up on it. And what I've noticed is that I will put, after I've flushed my tanks, if I find my blades are start running in and out a little tight, I will put some water in there and the solution, let the solution go into the valve, and I'll just simply run the blade back and forth, and it's like a hot knife through butter. You can actually feel it loosening up And then if you have the clear adapter, you can see the little bits and little stuff actually come floating down in it. It works. It works really good. So again, as long as that's the issue and it's not your the cables, that will help to free it up because it just gets stiff and it binds on itself and terrible mess. Corey knows all about that. Okay, I can talk a lot about this. So really, I invite your questions, but I'll tell you about our process. Yes, love. Oh, which tank should you empty first? I'll ask you guys.
Black.
Okay, why?
The gray water flushes out the hose after you do your black.
Okay, any other reasons?
Shouldn't you open your gray for about 30 seconds
Who is this guy?
and then open your black? That lubricates the two.
Does that make sense?
That's because I read that yesterday, by the way.
Oh.
But you didn't say it. Well, I brought it up. Not to say that I'm the smart one. Behind every good man is a great woman.
There you go. Absolutely. That's actually great because there's also another reason too. You're sitting in the park and we got the maintenance workers come along and they whippersnip. They may nick your hose, right? And if you pull your black and it's like, ugh, I'd rather have the gray come out than black. Another thing too is sometimes you're in a rush, it's raining, it's cold, and you put your pipe on and you miss a couple of the bayonets. You got the top two on, but the bottom two aren't on, and then you pull, right? So it's yes. So yes, you're emptying your black first, but just pull the gray for a few seconds just to make sure everything's kosher, okay? And then I'll coat your hose, and then empty your black, and then your gray. Yes, sir. The bayonet, yeah. Oh.
It had a personality all its own.
Yeah, no, not very pleasant. So that's why we do that, especially. So again, even after you got it hooked up, especially now, I don't do it necessarily every time, but if I see that they've come by and they cut the grass, I will do that. I will do that for sure to make sure that there's no issues, right? Okay, so our cleaning process itself, it's I like to say it's quite simple. I generally don't need to get into your RV. I clean from the outside. My mother-in-law, when we described we're getting into this business, and she's trying to fathom like what we're doing here. So I'm describing the process to her, and she goes, "Oh, so it's like an enema, but for an RV." That's what we do. Okay, so Dr. Anthony has his instrument, and I go up your 3-inch pipe into the different tanks. So the black, and if you have 2 grays, or whatever the grays you have, will go into your grays also. So what it actually does is I use low volume of water but high pressure, and it's that spray that actually is cleaning your tank walls, okay, and your sensors. So it's going to be falling off, and because it's low volume of water, a lot of it will actually just kind of sit on the bottom. Some of it will trickle out, but after I actually clean it, I will flush, and that's when you're going to see a lot of stuff come out. And people are always amazed because they're thinking, I emptied my tanks, or I saw you empty the tanks, and that's what came out. Yeah, there's a lot. So again, we need to flush with this afterwards to get rid of that. I'll do the same with your gray tank also, get rid of the mold. I also will put in, well, I started doing this just, well, I guess a lot of time just to help you out. You're here camping, you want to enjoy. So I'll actually get you set up with a few gallons of water and solution in the tank so you're ready to camp. That is done at a cleaning. Now, typically, you're not going to be injecting this stuff through this. Like I use a siphon. You're going to do it from the inside, which is actually better. And the reason being is, especially if you're using original pine sol, it's going to coat your pipes and help get rid of the mold and all that too. I can clean your tanks, not your pipes, right? But by introducing this stuff through your rig and then through your toilet, etc., it's going to clean and counteract, not counteract, kill the mold, whatnot. Another tip. A lot of times when we're sitting, it's really humid. That's when we start smelling stuff. And that's when your sensors will start acting wonky. Like you may look and go, it's full. And then later on you go, oh, now it's reading accurately. I don't know why it does that. But when it comes to the smell, what I've noticed that I'll just put a bit down in the sink at nighttime, or if I'm gone through it the day, and then that's just going to counteract the smell right there. It'll kill the mold and all that, and come back to nice fresh smelling rig. Again, I can talk more and more about this, but we want to hear Corey. Corey's got lots of good info. Oh my land, I got time yet? Have you guys got any other questions? Or yes.
I have one that you may not be able to answer, but we'll see.
Okay.
So in terms of, because I heard somebody mention something back here before about trying to clean out your shower or whatever. Oftentimes you get hair and stuff stuck in there. Some showers have a certain valve system that you might not want to be jamming stuff down it, right? To try and clean stuff out.
The ones without P-trap.
Ones with that's called a HEPBO. HEPBO. So here's what I found with those HEPBOs. First of all, is you should actually check them from time to time, because I've actually seen where hair, not mine, hers, no, it'll actually get trapped in the HEPBO. So the HEPBO is basically like a bladder, would you say? And so when water goes down the drain, it opens this bladder and allows the water out. And then it collapses on itself, so nothing, so the scent, odors, whatever scent, odors and water don't come back into it, okay? But what happens is that there can be buildup of hair or mold or whatever that will actually keep that open, introducing odors into your rig. We had a friend of ours had a brand new rig, and she's like, oh my gosh, I can't get rid of this smell. Can you come check it out and clean my tanks and whatnot? Nothing wrong. Your tanks are clean. And that's exactly what it was, Corey. It was that HEPBO. So if you have one of those newer rigs with the HEPBO filter, so that's the P trapless, that's not proper English, good or English. But anyways, you want to make sure those are clean and that there's not holding hair or other stuff that will actually keep it open. Thank you for mentioning that. I forgot that. Yes, sir.
A little discovery. We're on the second outing with our brand new rig.
Yes.
And so I don't make sure the gray tank not overfull today. On purpose.
So you know where it's full.
Well,
No.
you know the gauges, the guessometers, you know, we don't know them yet.
Yes.
But so the shower did fill up, even though I have one of those P-trapless.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd say there's a problem with the P-trapless thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of stories where they get installed directly at the factory.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Just because it's a brand new rig doesn't mean anything. Have Corey take a look at it.
No, it's not a suspension.
It's not a suspension. I keep digging at Corey here because I love him. Yeah. Yeah. No, but just because it's brand new, it doesn't mean not the rig we have now. The one we had before, we bought it brand new, and our first outing, chatting with my friend, pulling the tanks, and my wife goes, "What was that?" I was like, "What?" She goes, "I saw this black thing." I was like, "I don't know." Keep talking with a friend, pull the gray. She goes, "I just saw it again." So you know what they did is that when they put the rig together in the tanks, they drill the holes and they just let the disc drop in.
You're lucky it came out.
I was just gonna say that. I'm lucky it came out, because that's a ticking time bomb. If it does not come out, eventually stuff's gonna get attached to it. It's gonna get bigger in size, really, and it's gonna plug. It's gonna plug your system. So yeah, you did, eh? I was lucky. Yes, sir.
I know this is a little bit subjective, but how often do you recommend somebody gets their tanks cleaned?
Thank you. So, we, as of recent, especially those who are full timing, you get to know your rig a lot better. But the answer is once a year. I personally I clean mine more often because I have a wife that insists I clean them. No, but I'm this type of person who I like to put my stuff away clean. So I'm not necessarily going to clean my tanks depending on when they're clean last, but I'm making sure I'm flushing it very well. Because we're also putting down, most of us will, some people just blow air through there, but I do that also, but I still like to put the antifreeze in, so there's still going to be stuff in the tanks anyways. but once a year. If you're a full timer and it gets lots of use, you may want to entertain getting it done twice. But here's what happens: once you've got your tanks cleaned, you got a nice baseline. I'm clean. You're going to see the changes in your system, in your tanks, as it starts to deteriorate. I shouldn't say deteriorate. As it starts to foul up or get worse, whatever, you will know because you remember. Well, okay, I'm pulling the black. It's not really flowing as quickly as it used to. You will see. You will definitely know that it's changing. Um, your freshwater tanks. If you're full timing, you should probably, depending on where you are in the water, I'd recommend sanitizing your freshwater tank a minimum twice, if not 4 times a year. I think we have a simple method in the booklet on how to do that. It just takes time. It's basically bleach, water, run it through the lines, let it sit overnight, dump your freshwater tank, fill it with fresh water again, run it through the lines, clear it out, and then dump it. That's the process. So again, it's just time consuming. Yes, sir.
The water smells like that.
Note to self.
You know what? How many people drink from your tap?
I don't.
Yeah, anyway, so this you won't like. But most of us carry the water for drinking and for the tea and coffee, right? So even though I sanitized it a couple of weeks ago, it got done again this week.
Right on. Okay. What else, babe? Should I step on? Not step on. The samples. Oh yeah. So we're talking about stuff that builds up on your walls. This here is what's called struvite. Now, again, I'm not the brain, so can you explain what struvite is, please, lovely? That's what it is. So I pulled this stuff out of a Class A rig in Niagara Falls. I had this 14-year-old guy called me and say, "Oh, we need help," and I'm thinking, "Why isn't your father talking to me, right?" But anyways, long story short, I'm talking to them. They're new to RVing. They just bought this Class A used, and after talking to them, I determined, okay, they definitely have a problem. They're not pulling the wrong pull, right? So we got out there. I had 2 5-gallon pails full of that stuff that came out. I had to blast my way into the tank, and that's the stuff that came out. So it's very real. People don't think that, but that's again when the best case scenario, it's stuck to your walls. But when it's gone as long as it has, it basically filled the tank. Next thing, if you have a hot water tank, you'll know what this is, an anode rod. The purpose of the anode rod is that the water will, the minerals of water will attack this as opposed to your tank itself, okay? Result of that, though, is that there's going to be stuff that's going to be floating in your tank. Or not floating, going down. Stuck to the bottom. And for some reason, maybe you can answer this, Corey, they don't have the drain at the bottom of the tank. It's a little higher up. I don't know why, okay? To me, if I was making it, maybe it's a good reason I'm not, I'd have that drain at the bottom. So again, when you're putting your rig away, or you're servicing it, you want to flush it. It's not good just to pull it out and check to see. Now, if this is like a coat hanger rod, it's done. Okay, this is the original size of it, and there's just a little metal rod in the center. Actually, you can see the end where it is, but this is a sacrifice material. You can get a tank rinser, okay? This one's got a little curve on it, which I like, so you put it in, and I would just rotate it from 3 to 6 o'clock, 3 to 9 o'clock. I don't like putting up, because depending, it could spray some debris up and hit the element and short it out possibly. So you basically just want to go back and forth, in and out, and draw the stuff out. Are you going to get it all out? No, just because of the way the design of the tank is, but you can get a lot of that stuff out. Very inexpensive, and again, if you're checking your anode rod, that's the time you want to flush your tank. Hot water. No, that's true. That's the thing. Absolutely, absolutely. Because some of them they'll have, and you can generally tell the ones that don't have anode rods, they're just a little plastic.
Dometic
Dometic.
has a plastic plug Do not put a brass one in there.
Don't put a brass. I've seen that.
That plastic plug is there because it's a fail safe.
It'll blow it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So what he was saying is the Matic is the type that don't have the anode rods, and there's a plastic plug there. I have seen personally people put a brass plug in there because they don't like the plastic, but it's plastic for a reason. If it overheats, it's going to blow that instead of causing damage to your tank and rig and one.
The overpressure thing.
Yeah.
And ours specifically said not to put one on.
Yeah. 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 That's just like the tank rinsers only operate with them open. Anyhow, okay, folks. Again, I can keep chatting, but let's stop because I want to hear what Corey has to say. We're in the park, so if you see us, you have any questions or need a service or whatever, we're here. All right. Thank you very much.